The coffin gleams under cathedral lighting, mahogany polished to mirror shine. Inside lies Margaret Hartwell, 73 years old, loved by one person in this room, full of hundreds. That person is me. I stand in the back, where staff belongs. Black dress from Target. Sensible shoes. Hands folded. Eyes dry because I cried everything out last night in my studio apartment, alone, clutching the cardigan Margaret gave me last Christmas. At the front, Vivienne Ashford weeps beautifully. Designer black. Perfect posture. Tears that don't smudge her makeup. She clutches the arm of Margaret's son, Theodore Hartwell III, billionaire tech mogul, Manhattan's most eligible bachelor, until Vivienne sank her claws in 6 months ago. She was like a mother to me. Vivienne sobs into a lace handkerchief. I can't believe she's gone. The lie burns in my chest. Margaret couldn't stand Vivienne. Told me so 100 times while I helped her with physical therapy exercises, while I made her tea, while I sat with her through pain that medication barely touched. That woman is poison, Grace, Margaret would say. She's after Theodore's money. But he won't listen. He thinks I'm just a meddling old woman. She wasn't meddling. She was right. And now she's dead. The service ends. People file past the casket. I wait until the crowd thins, then approach. My hand trembles as I touch the polished wood. I'll miss you, I whisper. Every single day. Excuse me. Vivienne's voice cuts like glass. Staff should maintain appropriate boundaries. This is a family moment. I turn. She stands 3 feet away, perfect and poisonous, her eyes cold despite the tears she performed for the cameras. I'm paying my respects, I say quietly. You're the maid. She says it like a slur. You were paid to care for her. That doesn't make you family. It doesn't give you the right to, Vivienne. Theodore appears at her elbow, uncomfortable. Grace took excellent care of my mother. She has every right. Of course, darling. Vivienne's voice shifts to honey. I just think we should preserve the dignity of the moment. Your mother deserves intimacy with those who truly loved her. The implication lands like a slap. I step back. My condolences, Mr. Hartwell. I walk away before the tears come. Before I say what I'm thinking. Before I tell Theodore that his mother spent her last 3 months terrified of the woman he's planning to marry. I push through the cathedral doors into October wind and finally let myself break. 3 months earlier, Margaret Hartwell's penthouse occupies the entire 42nd floor of a building overlooking Central Park. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Art worth more than I'll earn in 10 lifetimes. Silence that money buys, triple-pane glass, insulated walls, a fortress against the city below. And Margaret, small in her wheelchair, looking out at a view she can barely enjoy through pain. You must be Grace, she says when the agency sends me. They told me you're overqualified. I'm qualified enough, I reply. You have a nursing degree. You could work in a hospital. Make more money. Why private care? I could tell her about my sister. About Jenna, who died in an overcrowded ER where overworked nurses missed the signs of internal bleeding. Where I held her hand and promised I'd be there, then watched her slip away while I waited for someone, anyone, to pay attention. I could tell her I can't work in hospitals anymore. Can't watch the system fail people I'm supposed to save. Instead, I say, I prefer one-on-one care. Getting to know someone. Making a real difference. Margaret studies me with sharp eyes that see more than I'm saying. You've lost someone. Haven't we all? She smiles. It transforms her face from austere to warm. I think we'll get along, Grace Williams. She's right. Within a week, I know her routine. Coffee at 7. Black. 2 sugars. Physical therapy at 9. Gentle stretches for joints ravaged by rheumatoid arthritis. Lunch at noon. Dinner at 6. Medication schedule memorized. Pain levels monitored. But I learn other things too. I learned she was a civil rights attorney who argued 3 cases before the Supreme Court. That she marched with John Lewis. That she raised Theodore alone after her husband died. Built her own career. Fought her own battles. I learned she's sharp as a blade and twice as stubborn. My son thinks I should move to assisted living, she says during week 2. Says this place is too big for someone in my condition. What do you think? I think he wants me tucked away somewhere convenient. Somewhere Vivienne doesn't have to see me. This is my first mention of Vivienne Ashford, Theodore's new girlfriend, a former socialite who attached herself to him at a charity gala 4 months ago. You don't like her, I observe. I don't trust her. Margaret's voice is steel. She appeared out of nowhere. No real career. No substance. Just beauty and charm and an instinct for weakness. Your son's weakness? His loneliness. Margaret's expression softens with pain that has nothing to do with arthritis. Theodore works too hard. He's brilliant, built his company from nothing, changed how the world communicates. But he's isolated. He wants connection, family, someone to build a life with. And Vivienne wants his money. More than that, she wants power, status, the Hartwell name. Margaret looks at me directly. I've seen women like her before. In courtrooms, in boardrooms. They identify what you need and become it. Theodore needs a partner. So Vivienne became perfect, interested in his work, supportive, loving. But she's not. She's an actress playing a role. And when she gets what she wants, when they're married, when I'm gone, when she has access to everything, the performance will end. The certainty in her voice chills me. Have you told him? Of course. He thinks I'm being overprotective, difficult. He says I've never approved of anyone he's dated. She laughs bitterly, which is true. But this time I'm right. I believe her. Over the following weeks, I meet Vivienne 3 times. She visits the penthouse with Theodore, all solicitous concern for Mother Margaret, all gentle touches and worried questions. And when Theodore isn't looking, her eyes are ice. The transformation is seamless. Vivienne morphs from doting future daughter-in-law to cold stranger the moment Theodore leaves the room. "Grace, could you bring tea?" she asks sweetly while he's present. Then, when his footsteps fade, "Make sure it's actually hot this time." I don't know what they teach maids these days. Margaret catches it all, watches, says nothing. "Why don't you tell him?" I ask after they leave. He has to see it himself. If I push too hard, I'm the villain. She closes her eyes, exhausted. "Besides, I won't be here much longer." "Don't say that. I'm dying, Grace. The doctors give me 6 months. Maybe 8. She says it matter-of-factly, like discussing weather. The arthritis is the least of it. My heart's failing. Kidneys struggling. I've had a good run. The grief catches me off guard. I've only known her 6 weeks, but already she matters. Does Theodore know? Not the timeline. He knows I'm sick, but I've downplayed it. Let him believe we have more time. Her voice cracks. I wanted him settled first. Happy. Safe. Safe from Vivienne. Yes. That night, I start paying closer attention. I notice how Vivienne steers conversations away from prenuptial agreements. How she's already planning the wedding. Massive, expensive, public. How she mentions the foundation Theodore runs. Suggests she could take a more active role. I notice Theodore's fatigue. The way he works 16-hour days. Comes home to Vivienne's perfectly orchestrated domesticity. Believes he's finally found balance. I notice Margaret growing weaker. By month 3, she needs help with everything. I move into the guest suite to provide round-the-clock care. Theodore pays without question, grateful someone competent is handling what he can't. Vivienne hates it. "Is this really necessary?" she asks Theodore during a visit. "Having staff living here? It's so invasive. Grace is helping my mother. I trust her completely." "Of course, darling. I just worry about your mother's dignity. Being so dependent on hired help." "Hired help." She says it like a diagnosis. Margaret squeezes my hand after they leave. She wants it gone. "You see too much." What do I see? That she doesn't love him. That she's counting days until I die and she has him to herself. Margaret's breathing is labored now, every word an effort. "Grace, I need you to promise me something. Anything. When I'm gone, don't let Theodore marry her. I know you're just the maid. I know you have no power, no standing. But find a way. Please." The request is impossible. I'm nobody. Theodore Hartwell doesn't know I exist beyond my function. Why would he listen to me? But I look at Margaret's face. This woman who fought for justice her entire life. Who spent her final months trying to protect her son from a predator. And I can't refuse. I promise. Margaret dies on a Tuesday. Heart failure. Expected but still devastating. I'm with her. Theodore's in Singapore for business. Vivienne is unreachable at a spa day. So it's just me and Margaret when her breathing changes, when she grips my hand, when she whispers, "Tell him. Find a way." Then she's gone. I sit with her for 20 minutes before calling anyone. I hold her hand and cry and promise again that I'll try. Theodore flies back immediately. Vivienne appears in full grief performance, sobbing, dramatic, clinging to him like a lifeline. She's devastated, Theodore tells me. She loved my mother so much. I swallow the truth. Say nothing. The funeral is 3 days later. 500 people who barely knew Margaret, performing sorrow for society pages. Vivienne orchestrates everything: flowers, music, reception. Mother Margaret would have wanted elegance, she tells the funeral director. Nothing tacky or common. Margaret would have wanted simplicity, would have hated the spectacle. But no one asks me. At the reception following the service, I keep my distance. I'm not invited. Exactly, but Theodore asked me to come. You were important to her, he said. I stand near the catering table, watching Vivienne work the room. She's spectacular, tragic, and beautiful, accepting condolences with grace, murmuring about how much she'll miss dear Margaret. She's quite the actress. I turn. An elderly woman stands beside me, champagne in hand, shrewd eyes watching Vivienne. I'm sorry, Vivienne Ashford, or Vivienne Chun, as she was known in San Francisco, or Vivienne Ross in Boston. The woman smiles. I'm Patricia Montgomery. I knew Margaret from our law school days. My heart rate spikes. She used different names? She's a professional. Targets wealthy men, performs devotion, gets close to their money. Usually through marriage, sometimes through positioning herself in their businesses or foundations. Patricia sips her champagne. She's been engaged 4 times. Never made it to the altar. Always walks away with a settlement. How do you know this? Because Margaret asked me to investigate. Called me 2 months ago. Said something felt wrong about her son's girlfriend. Patricia hands me a card. I'm a private investigator. Retired attorney, like Margaret. This is what I found. The card has a phone number. Nothing else. Why are you telling me? Because Margaret said if anything happened to her, I should find you. Said you were the only one who'd believe it. The only one who cared enough to act. Patricia's expression softens. She trusted you, Grace. Don't waste that. She disappears into the crowd. I stand frozen, the card burning in my hand, Margaret's voice in my head. Find a way. Across the room, Vivienne laughs at something Theodore says. Her hand rests possessively on his arm. Already planning the wedding. Already calculating her payout. I look at the card. Then I make a decision. I call Patricia that night. Tell me everything. She does. Vivienne Ashford is 32. Real name, Vivienne Chun. She cycled through 4 wealthy men in the past decade. Gets engaged, gets close, gets access to financial information, then manufactures a crisis that results in a 6-figure settlement to go away quietly. She's careful, Patricia explains. Never quite breaks the law. Just exploits emotion, leverages embarrassment, threatens exposure of private matters. Rich men pay to make problems disappear. What's her play with Theodore? Marriage, I think. He's worth billions. She's aiming higher this time. Margaret knew this? She suspected. I confirmed it 2 weeks before she died. I was supposed to present findings to Theodore after the funeral. Why didn't you? Because Margaret wanted proof he couldn't dismiss. She was gathering evidence of Vivienne's other relationships, getting statements. She died before we finished. I closed my eyes. Even dying, Margaret was fighting. What do we have now? Enough to raise questions. Not enough to convince a man in love. Then we get enough. Patricia and I spend 2 weeks building the case. We find Vivienne's previous fiancés, 3 willing to talk, 1 too traumatized. We document the pattern: whirlwind romance, rapid engagement, subtle financial maneuvering, then manufactured crisis and payout. One man, a tech investor in Boston, tells us, she convinced me her mother needed emergency surgery. I wired $200,000. Then she disappeared. When I investigated, her mother was a paid actress. Another, a real estate developer in Miami. She had keys to my office, access to my files. When I broke up with her, she threatened to leak confidential information about pending deals. I paid her $300,000 to go away. The pattern is clear. Vivienne is a professional, but Theodore is already planning the wedding. Vivienne has positioned herself at his company, joined the foundation board, ingratiated herself with his business partners. We need to tell him. I say. He won't believe you, Patricia warns. You're the maid. She'll spin it as jealousy or grief-induced delusion. Then what do? Patricia smiles. We let her show herself. The plan is simple. Patricia, using her legal connections, leaks information to one of Vivienne's previous marks, the Boston investor. She suggests he might have legal recourse, that Vivienne's current engagement to a billionaire makes her worth pursuing. He takes the bait. Files a civil suit against Vivienne for fraud. The suit becomes public 3 weeks after Margaret's funeral. Theodore calls me to the penthouse. I haven't been back since Margaret died. The agency reassigned me. But he needs to talk. Did you know about this? He looks haggard, confused. This lawsuit against Vivienne? I've heard about it. She says it's baseless. A vindictive ex making false accusations. Is that what you think? He runs his hands through his hair. I don't know what to think. My mother didn't trust her. Now this. But Vivienne's been so supportive, so loving. Mr. Hartwell, may I speak frankly? Please. I take a breath. Your mother asked me to investigate Vivienne. Before she died, she hired Patricia Montgomery, a private investigator. His face goes still. We found 3 other men Vivienne was engaged to. 3 other situations where she extracted money and disappeared. There's a pattern. He stops. Why didn't my mother tell me? She tried. You didn't want to hear it. The truth lands hard. He sinks into a chair, Margaret's chair, the one she sat in while watching the park, while talking to me, while worrying about her son. Show me, he says finally. I show him everything. The documentation, the interviews, the timeline of Vivienne's movements from man to man, city to city, identity to identity. His face drains of color as he reads. She was in my office yesterday, he whispers, going through files. She said she was helping organize the foundation's donor records. But now you're wondering what she was really looking for. He looks at me with something like anguish. My mother knew. She died knowing I didn't believe her. She died hoping you'd figure it out in time. Theodore confronts Vivienne that evening. I'm not present. He asks me to wait in Margaret's old room. But I hear it. The penthouse is large, but voices carry. These allegations are lies, Vivienne says. Fabrications from men who couldn't handle being rejected. There are 4 of them, Vivienne. For separate men with the same story. They're coordinating. This is a conspiracy. Stop. Theodore's voice is cold. I had my attorneys investigate. You've used 3 different names. You've been engaged 4 times in 10 years. You approached me at that charity gala deliberately. You researched my mother's illness. Knew I was vulnerable. Silence. Then, you're upset. Your mother just died. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking clearly for the first time in months. His voice breaks. My mother tried to warn me. She died trying to protect me. And I didn't listen. Theodore, please, get out. Now. I'll have someone pack your things. If you're in this building in 1 hour, I'll call security. You'll regret this. I know things about your company. Threaten me again, and I'll file charges. I have documentation of every file you accessed, every conversation you had with my competitors, every piece of information you stole. Try me. I hear footsteps. A door slamming. Then silence. I wait 5 minutes before emerging. Theodore sits in the living room, head in his hands. When he sees me, he looks up with red eyes. I failed her. No, I say firmly. You loved her. You were trying to build a life. That's what she wanted for you. She died thinking I chose Vivienne over her. She died knowing you'd figure it out. She had faith in you. I sit down across from him. She asked me to promise I'd help you see the truth. She knew you'd get there. She just wanted to make sure you had support when you did. You barely knew her. I knew her for 3 months. It was enough. My voice cracks. She was brilliant and strong and funny. She told me stories about arguing cases, about raising you, about fighting for things that mattered. She made me laugh. She made me think. She made me want to be braver. Theodore wipes his eyes. She talked about you too. Said you understood her. That you saw people clearly. I see what people show me. Vivienne showed me who she was every time your back was turned. Why didn't you say something sooner? Would you have believed me? The maid accusing your fiancé? He laughs bitterly. No, probably not. We sit in silence, 2 people grieving the same woman from different angles. Finally Theodore says, stay on. Please. Not as a nurse. There's no one to care for now. But help me sort through her things. Her papers. She left instructions about her estate, donations she wanted made. I can't face it alone. Of course. Over the next month, I helped Theodore navigate Margaret's legacy. We donate her law books to her alma mater, her art collection to museums, her clothes to women's shelters. We established the Margaret Hartwell Justice Fund, scholarships for law students from underserved communities. We find letters she wrote, to Theodore, to me, to friends. Letters full of wisdom and love and fierce hope for a better world. In a letter addressed to me, she writes, Grace, You remind me of myself at your age. Certain that you don't matter, that you can't change anything. But you can. You do. Trust yourself. Speak up. The world needs people who notice things, who care enough to act. Thank you for caring about me. Thank you for keeping your promise. I cry reading it. Theodore finds his own letter. He doesn't share it, but his face tells me enough. She forgave him. She always loved him. She wanted him happy. 6 months after Margaret's death, Theodore calls me to the penthouse one last time. I'm selling it, he says. Too many memories. I'm buying something smaller. Starting fresh. That's good. I wanted to thank you. For everything. For taking care of her. For keeping your promise. For being honest when I needed it. You don't need to thank me. I do. He hands me an envelope. This is from my mother's estate. She left specific instructions. I open it. Inside is a check that makes my vision blur. Enough to pay off my student loans. Enough for a down payment on a house. Enough to change my life. I can't accept this. You can. You will. She wanted you to have security. Freedom. The ability to choose what comes next instead of just surviving. I clutched the envelope, overwhelmed. She barely knew me. She knew you enough. She knew you saw her as a person, not just a patient. She knew you cared. Theodore smiles sadly. That meant everything to her. It means everything to me. I used Margaret's gift to start a private care agency. Not the corporate kind that treats caregivers like interchangeable parts. The kind that pays well, trains thoroughly, and matches clients with caregivers who truly fit. The kind that values people like me. People who notice things, who care deeply, who see patients as whole humans with stories and wisdom and worth. I name it Margaret's Legacy Care. Patricia Montgomery joins the board. We screen clients carefully. We protect our caregivers. We build something that honors Margaret's belief that everyone deserves dignity and attention and someone who truly sees them. Theodore becomes a donor. Not because he has to, but because he wants to. Support work that mattered to his mother. We don't become friends, exactly. But we're connected by grief and gratitude and the memory of someone we both loved. 2 years after Margaret's death, I visit her grave. I bring flowers, the same kind she loved, the ones she kept in her penthouse. I sit on the grass and talk to the stone bearing her name. I kept my promise, I tell her. Theodore's okay. He's dating someone new, a law professor, actually. Someone you'd like. Someone real. The wind moves through the cemetery trees. I miss you. I miss our conversations. I miss your laugh. I miss the way you saw the world, all the problems, but also all the possibilities. I touched the cold granite. Thank you for seeing me, for trusting me, for teaching me that I matter. If this story touched you, I want you to know something. You matter. Your voice matters. Your observations, your care, your presence in someone's life, it all matters more than you know. Don't let anyone tell you that you're just anything. Just the maid. Just the assistant. Just the help. You're the person who notices. Who cares. Who shows up. Who keeps promises. The Margaret Hartwells of the world need people like you. And the Theodore Hartwells need someone brave enough to tell them uncomfortable truths. Be that person. Speak up when something's wrong. Trust your instincts. Believe that what you see is real and important. The world tries to convince us that power and wealth and credentials are what matter. But I've learned different. What matters is showing up, paying attention, caring enough to act. Margaret taught me that. She changed my life in 3 months. She saw past my role to the person underneath. She trusted me with her son's future. And I honored that trust by refusing to stay silent. You can do the same. Whatever situation you're in, whatever you're seeing that others miss, whatever truth you're afraid to speak, trust yourself. Your voice is exactly as important as anyone else's. Use it.